What's going on, everyone? This is Dom and welcome to 24 Hours with this guy, the Z Fold 4. This has always been an interesting phone to me, all while being not my favorite in the foldable space. I do happen to lean towards liking the Z Flip series over the Z Fold series, but I think that's a personal preference. But I'd really like to know out there, who uses this and what do you use it for? Because it's definitely for a very specific set of people that need a tablet and a phone all in one. The thing is, I can't help but feel like I'm always going to accidentally break this thing, and mainly that's just because the entire outside and inside of this thing is covered in displays, right? As thick and as heavy as this thing is, I always just feel like it's just 2 seconds away from sliding out of my hand and falling on the ground to its ultimate demise, because I would hate to see the damage that happens the first time that I drop this phone. Now, granted, I know other people have dropped out there and it's performed just fine. These are just personal fears of mine when using this device on a regular basis. Not much has changed year over with the Z Fold series. I mean, we do have a slimmer bezel around the front. We have a slimmer hinge, whether it's noticeable or not. I think it feels just a little bit slimmer in the hands compared to the last model, but that's just me. The 6.2-inch cover screen does feel a little bit larger because of those slim bezels. I mean, even if only by a hair or two, just feels like there's a little more breathing room, I guess, on the front side of this, which is definitely a welcome change. The 7.6-inch display on the inside is pretty great. Nothing's changed here. I mean, we still have the same web browsing media experience that this thing is built to handle, and honestly, I like that a lot, and I love that it's still very palmable, like just with it being almost like a full tablet size, I can still easily hold it in one hand. The 7.6-inch display on the inside, well, nothing's changed here, but it's still great with web browsing and watching videos and things like that. It's definitely like a full-on tablet experience. Now, the good thing is Samsung says that this is, I think, like 40% stronger of the thin display glass in here, so you might not have to worry about breaking it as much. I don't know. That's something that we're going to have to wait and see if anything happens to the inside of this, but fingers crossed, I hope not. The 4-megapixel shooter underneath the display is also way less noticeable than before, which I'm a big fan of. One of the bigger updates with the Z Fold this year isn't actually on the inside, it's on the outside around the back with the camera. So we have a 50-megapixel main shooter now, which is an upgrade over the 12-megapixel shooter, I believe, from last year. But to be honest, if I'm just being flat out here, the difference between 50 megapixels and 12 megapixels just on a screen to the naked eye is very unnoticeable. Samsung does such a good job at taking photos that I really don't think that it's going to make a huge impact in your life, except the file size of the photos and maybe the resolution, like if you actually look at the physical resolution. But the photos themselves between the two, they still look really great, and they still look great this year. Really though, the entire thing with the Z Fold 4 feels like your standard flagship upgrade. Nothing special is happening here, nothing innovative is happening here, except the innovation of this foldable space itself, which Samsung currently owns that space. I mean, no one is really doing anything big in the foldable space but Samsung, so kudos to them for hanging on to that still. But like I said, this is just your typical flagship upgrade. The software feels snappy, and really all of the novelties that come along with that. There's not much to be said bad about anything here. It's really just doing what it needs to do, and the specifications inside kind of speak for themselves. We have the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, we have 12 gigabytes of RAM, and realistically, that is just about it as far as the Z Fold 4 goes. I've had such a good time using it over the last 24 hours that really I have nothing to complain about at this point. So if the fun of the foldable space has kind of worn off for you and you're not really that excited about it anymore, just know that this is a great phone and it does what it's supposed to do. I mean, Samsung has updated it to fit in with the rest of their 2022 flagships, and that's about all we can say about the Z Fold 4. Though, like I said, it is still a great phone, and it's kind of fun to use. It's got a fun experience, and if anything, it's a conversation starter, even if that conversation is started around the fact that it's still an $1,800 phone.